Today, I bring you a review of a new film that I found. I've seen this online for about a year now. I just recently gave it a try. It is called the Ilford Ilfocolor 400 Vintage Tone. So, one thing to get out of the way, this is not the Ilford British brand that we see that makes the black and white film like the HP5 that we know and love. This is another company that is trademarking out the Ilford name, just like how the Ilford color disposable cameras, they're just trademarking out that name to another company. So if we look in the back here of the box, it says that it is actually made by Ilford Imaging, which is a German company in Europe. So this German company is making this film, and I want to say it's a new film, but it is a respooled film, so I did a little research online. It's a respool of a film, I'm going to butcher the name here, but it's called Arwo, which is R-O-R-W-O, Wolfen NC500 film, which is known for its vintage tones, and this definitely has some vintage tones. And the Wolfen brand has yellow emulsion, and you can see this here with the Ilford on the spool. There is yellow emulsion there, and the Wolfen brand also has yellow emulsions. So since these two emulsions match, the vintage tones match, a lot of people say this is a respool of that brand. I think it is, but I don't think it's confirmed out there. I was a little weary to try this film because I've seen a lot of people post muddy and underexposed photos and pass them off as good. And then I also seen people who had properly exposed photos and it looked like a pretty good vintage tone to it. So I was a little hesitant to get it. So I pulled the trigger, went on B&H and bought it for $14.95. A little research online, I found that shooting it overexposed by a stop would help remedy the muddiness and underexposures. So I shot it at 200. At the end of the review, we'll figure out if that was a good idea or a bad idea. I shot this film on my Minolta X-700, which is my go-to camera. Took it on a photo walk with the Long Island Film Club, which I'll put in the description below. Definitely give them a look. There's tons of people in the club that produce great pictures. But anyway, we did a photo walk in a farm in October, so I got the fall feel along with the vintage tones, which I thought would be a good match. So let's dive into some examples. So we're going to go into the example photos. I just want to show the bad ones first. So this film, when I shot it at 200 speed, it might have been a little bit too overexposed for a bright sunny day because there was a lot of blown highlights. So I'm going to show you these photos now. So in this photo is a corn maze, and you can see that the sky has blown highlights as well as the highlights on the corn stalks are blown out. I have this photo here where it's not really blown highlights, but you can see in the skin the highlights are a little harsh, and then also on the wood you're getting close to the harsh zone. So I had some photos like that where you have the blown highlights or the highlights get a little harsh. Just going forward, I probably would have done a half stop overexposed, but doing the 200 speed, I did mitigate that muddiness and underexposure I was seeing with other people's photos. So let's keep going to the example photos. The photos that I'm going to show next is a good example of the vintage tone and kind of the vintage colors you'll see. As you can see with this photo, which is a photo of these sunflowers, the yellow has like a vintage tone along with the green. The saturation is a little low, but still saturated. I really like the contrast this film produces. In this next photo, we kind of get some yellow flowers again, but we add some orange. I'm really liking the orange and the yellow colors with this vintage tone. Then also, we got the sky and how it renders a blue sky. Luckily, it was not overexposed like in the other photos. Alright, for these next example photos, I'm going to show some portraits of some people so you can get how it renders skin tones. Here's a photo of my friend during the film walk. So here we could see that it has relatively good skin color reproduction. Again, the highlights are a little blown out due to that overexposure. And the pumpkin rendered nicely, and in the background, I love the vintage look of the background. This next photo has pretty good contrast between both sides of his face because the sun was hitting on one side and you got the shadow on the other. So it rendered those pretty nicely. And then the corn maze looks great in the background. And this photo here is just the Long Island Film Club together, and we just get a bunch of people here and kind of get the vintage tone. And then from this photo you get a nice vintage feel from the vintage tone the film produces. This next photo is one of my favorite photos. It has like a really vintagey feel, and it really shows what this film can do. In the picture is just a greenhouse with some flowers in the front, but I think it's the way it renders the yellow and oranges and like desaturates a little bit. I think it makes it look very vintagey, and I really like that look. And then also, I'm going to show you these pictures where they're pictures of a tractor from different angles, and I like how it renders the green from it. Here's the control panel of the tractor, and you can see how it has good sharpness, but we'll talk about that later. And also it has good color reproduction, and once again, I'm going to say this word a lot, it has that vintage feel. And here's the front of the tractor, which is just pretty much the same feel, and this time you get your green, yellow, and red color renditions. The next photos I want to show, I want to discuss the sharpness of the film. So yes, sharpness is attributed to the lens, but also the film emulsion does have a contributing factor, because the film has a property where it could distinguish between 2 points in the picture, so the resolution of the picture. So here's an example of a farm sign. So here from the farm sign you can see that the words are nice and sharp, as well as the outline of the sign, and also seeing great contrast from it. Then this is the corn maze sign, where once again the words are very sharp, and so are the corn stalks in the background. And the last photo I like to show for this is this bicycle. You see good contrast and also the sharpness with all the lines you see on the handlebars and also the rest of the bicycle. So while we're on sharpness, I do want to show you a picture I took of a person paragliding. I was using a 50mm lens, but I shot this guy paragliding, and it actually came out pretty good, so it shows you how well the resolution of the film is for something that's far off in the distance. So I was able to produce a good picture with someone that far off. So those are some of my favorite photos. I'll show a little more later, but I just want to go over my final thoughts now. So I would definitely recommend this film. It's not something I would automatically go to. I still like my Kodak Ultramax, and this film's a little bit pricey for an everyday film, but I would definitely take it if a project I'm doing or the vision I'm seeing needs like a vintage tone. I would definitely go for this film because it does have that vintage tone to it. I like how the colors are not too saturated, but just saturated enough to my liking, and I really like the contrast of the film. The sharpness of the film is definitely another plus, and I think if you were to shoot it at a half stop overexposed, you'll definitely get really great pictures. You'll get better than the pictures you see online that look muddy and underexposed, and you'll get better pictures than mine, which were a little bit overexposed with those blown out highlights. So definitely shoot it a half stop overexposed. So now it's up to you to figure out if that price and from what you saw, if this film is for you or something that would help in your project. And I hope this information has helped you. Before I go, I just want to show you some more photos that really show the contrast and colors that this film produces without me talking over it, and you can kind of just take it in while I play some nice music over it. Enjoy. So those were the rest of the example photos. I hope you liked them. I hope you were able to really take it in without me talking over it. And I hope that you're able to decide if this film is right for you or if you should pass it up. But for me, I definitely like it for certain projects. I definitely liked it in the fall because it definitely, for me, felt like a fall type of film. Like take it to a fall festival or a pumpkin patch. But anyway, I hope you have a great day and I hope you enjoyed this review.